I'm originally from Guatemala in Central America. Many people don't know where that is, and they confuse it with Mexico, but it's not Mexico. We're south of Mexico, in Central America. I was born there, and I was born and raised there, and then lived there all my life, until I moved here directly to Austin, Texas.
What is the name of the city or town or community that you come from?
Guatemala City.
Guatemala City?
Guatemala City, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a big city.
What about the neighborhood that you lived in? What did you call your neighborhood?
We have it divided by zones, so it's like a zone, different zones in the city. Yeah, but it's...
And do you have family still?
Yes, all my family is still there.
Tell me about your family.
Okay, so I was born and raised in Guatemala and lived there all my life. And we're a middle-class family. Economically, we're fine. We went to a private school. My father, as a lawyer, he put us in private school, and we were brought bilingual. And then I studied French later on. We had a good life, comfortable life. We had, like most of the middle class and families in Guatemala, they have servants, and they have help. They help you cook and clean, and good education, and so it was a very comfortable life, and lots of family around, lots of social events everywhere, and a good life.
What about, did you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have two siblings, yes. I'm the oldest, and then my two siblings, yeah.
And so you're living a comfortable life in Guatemala, and
yes.
Then you come to the U.S.
Yes.
What was the sort of drive behind that?
So when we were living in Guatemala, we used to come to the U.S. As tourists a lot. We will come and go mostly to Florida. It was close, so we would fly to Florida a lot. So it was not unfamiliar. It's not like when I moved here, it wasn't like I was coming to a completely strange place. But of course, I had no idea that it was going to be so different to actually come as a tourist and to actually live in this country. So I wasn't really wanting to live in Guatemala. When I studied in the university, I graduated as an attorney, and I loved my job, and I loved my profession. And I was good. I really didn't want to leave Guatemala. I love my country. I love my family and friends. It was my husband. He really wanted to come to the U.S. So he got connected with an advertising agency, and they offered him a job. And it's like, I didn't think it was going to happen, with the visas and everything. And everything was smooth and quick and sudden. And it was like, what? I couldn't believe that it was actually happening, but everything, went really smooth. So, okay, I was, torn because it wasn't my idea to come here and live here, but he wanted to. So that's when we moved. We moved here. And then everything changed completely once we moved here. Yeah. Because no matter what your background is, leaving your country is very hard. I had no idea how hard it was going to be. It's leaving your culture, it's leaving your family, leaving your friends, it's leaving your language. I knew the language, I spoke the language, that wasn't a problem, but it was just my line of thinking, everything completely changed. I was thinking always in Spanish and talking Spanish. Now I had to think in English and speak in English, and there were certain technical words, that I really didn't know some technical words, or business world, or we had no credit. For example, we were zero. We had to start from zero. I mean, here I was nothing. I was a lawyer. Here I was somebody. Guatemala. Here was nothing, nobody. So we had to start from zero. Yeah, all over. No credit, no profession. So nothing. So it was like they drop me in a place and it's like, oh, it start all over from scratch, from zero. So that was so hard. And what I was, when I opened my mouth and my accent came out, I was immediately stereotyped. I was an immigrant. That's what I was. Everybody was immediately, they will ask me immediately when I open my mouth, immediately they stereotype me. This is who you are. Oh, you must be Mexican. You must have crossed the border illegally. All the stereotypes. I was it, and so I had no barriers. I mean, I make friends everywhere, and I have no problem making friends until I move here. I mean, people live very closed lives, and they're very they build walls. They have walls around them, and all the stereotypes. They wanna put you in a box. I mean, also you're from you speak Spanish, so that you're Mexican, right? And they don't even call it Spanish; they call it Mexican. So you speak Mexican. There you go. Hang out with your friends. Hang out with people just like you. It's like, what is this? I have never faced something like this. And it was completely. It was a shock to me. I felt discriminated. I was just all these things that people would tell me. It was just so hard to hear, and especially because part of my ego, I wasn't just anybody. I was somebody, and I didn't want it to. They call me Mexican, and the people from Mexico that actually come to Guatemala are people that are very wealthy, and they're very snob. To come to Guatemala, so we don't like Mexicans because of that reason. They come. The ones who come there are very snob. We call them the fresa. So they're very wealthy, and they think they're the best in Latin America, and they always see us as we're less than they are. So we don't like them in Guatemala. Here, they call me Mexican all the time. So that was hard. I had to admit that was hard to being called Mexican. And I would get very upset, and I would get very frustrated at this situation, being discriminated and being stereotyped and being called Mexican and everything. It's just like it was very hard for me.
What would you say? Were there ever instances where persons challenged you on you speaking Spanish?
Yes, there was one that I want to talk about. We were coming out of the post office with my kids. And I made it very, since the very beginning, when I was raising my kids, that I didn't want them to lose their Spanish no matter what. It was I knew that I had to face people, and I was against everything because Spanish is not welcome. People don't like the fact that others are speaking a language that is not English, and I don't care. I told my kids, we're going to speak Spanish at home no matter what. That's the only language we're going to speak at home. So it was hard. It was a challenge for them, to keep that language, especially because in school and everything is just English, and the culture is a lot of pressure, and the discrimination also comes along. So, but I don't care. It's an advantage to speak two languages. It's not a disadvantage. So I want to give my kids an advantage. So after this, we were talking in Spanish everywhere, and my kids immediately saw it as an advantage because they could speak something, a language that nobody else could understand. So we could be as intimate as we wanted to in front of other people. So that was kind of fun, But there was this incident when we were coming out of the post office with my two kids, and I was talking in Spanish to them, and they were replying in Spanish back. And there was this older man that he was just past us, and then he turned around and he looked at my kids and he said, "Well, you guys should learn how to speak English because that's how you make money in this country." And he turned, before I could even say anything, he just turned around and he left. And I was like, I can't believe he said that, and I was so upset and so enraged about saying that. It's such a racist comment. And then people will say, "Oh, thank goodness that you're here in Texas because Texas people in Texas are so nice." And I was like, that's not true. Where are they nice? Where are they nice? Oh, because if you go to New York and blah 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 up north, everybody is just so stuck up and they're very racist there. And my experience has been opposite, really opposite. I mean, I've experienced whenever I've been there, I've liked it so much better. People treat me better, than they do here in Texas. I find that there's a lot of racism. And now with this government, what has happened is that all this racism that was hidden, it just has come out, just freely come out. He has done nothing but just empowered the racism to come out. That's the only difference. So I was a lot of the years I've been here, I've been very frustrated with all this racism situation, and I was just amazed that there were all these immigrants coming here, and they couldn't even speak the language. They have no rights, and here I was, a privileged immigrant, with rights. We were residents. We spoke the language. I mean, we own a home. We had very privileged. But then, I looked down at all these immigrants and said, how do they manage? I mean, living in this country is hard. It's hard. So I started to see this is if this happens to me, I mean, how badly it has to be for them. So I started, thinking and about this situation. It's like, what can somebody like me do? I'm here, I'm nothing, I have no connections. In Guatemala, I had connections. I knew people, and people knew me. I could do something. But here, what can I do? So I prayed a lot about this, and it was God helped me go through so much of this. And He helped me channelize all this frustration and anger that I had towards this issue. And then I finally understood that this is a situation about ignorance. People are ignorant, and that's why they're racist. They're fearful. I mean, this guy is disguising fear, because they're fearful of what's different, and they need to be taught. So one thing led to another, and I started working on this storytelling projects. So I'm very fond of storytelling, because I know it's very powerful, and it's a non-confrontational way to change things. So that's what I got involved into that, and just collecting these stories, from immigrants, and telling them we need to change things, and the only way we can change things is to educate the population that votes, that has the power to vote. And teach them, this is what's going on. We need to change this. And they're so legalistic, and they will follow the law blindly, even if it's unjust, and even if it's killing people, they will follow it blindly. We need to teach them and show them that this is not right. That they have to change the laws. Man makes the law, and they're flawed, and they have to be changed. Because if we follow God's law, and that's the law we need to follow, instead of human law. So my cause began with that, and that's how I have channelized that, and working with the stories, bringing them to the light, and working with educating the Anglo population. I've been involved in different projects and organizations, through that. And one thing has led to another. God has opened a lot of doors, and I know that He will keep on opening doors for that project. And it has been very healing to me, even though I usually don't get to share my story, but it has been healing to me to share these stories, and this, because this is not me, trying to convince others. I mean, these stories speak from the heart to another person's heart. So that's how the connection happens, and that's how they can, have empathy and compassion on others. Because we are called to do that, to have compassion on one another, and that's what's gonna solve this huge problem. That's what that has been healing to me. So finally, I'm here as an immigrant. I'm proud. I'm not a resident anymore. Now I'm a citizen. Now I can vote, and I have the power to vote. Thank goodness, and the current administration has prompt me to get my citizenship, because we procrastinated, but now with the situation was like, for immigrants it was really bad, so we decided to get our paperwork together and apply for our citizenship, and now we're citizens. So I have this privilege. So with this privilege, I have to look out for others that don't have this privilege, and I have to look out for them, and that has healed me, and that has helped me find a purpose and helping others. I'm fulfilled with helping others.
You talked about the power of prayer,
Mm-hmm.
and sort of the centrality of God in helping you open doors and
Mm-hmm.
find new positions. What do you currently do now? What is your official sort of role as where do you work?
I do a lot of things, but I work at the Austin Presbyterian Theological Seminary. I work as an associate project in the Department of Education Beyond the Walls, and we work with immigrants. My job is to work with immigrants and include them in every project that we make. We want to bring a lot of practical education in campus, and I know that the Hispanic population will benefit a lot from those projects, because they need a lot of not only theological education but practical education as well. So we're providing that. We're creating an Instituto Maria y Marta that will bring, that practicality and the heart of the practicality of Martha and the heart of Mary together, to help these women, develop a better leadership and training them to train others as well. And so different projects, and
When you mentioned
the storytelling project as well.
When you mentioned immigrant communities, where are these persons from?
They're from different faith organizations, faith-based, leaders, lay leaders, or leaders in the churches, pastors' wives, or pastors from independent churches that they need support, and we're providing that for them.
What about the persons that you service? Where are the immigrants from?
Well, I would like to say that God brings the people, because He does. I just do my part. I'm very relational, so I just do a lot of one-on-one, and one-on-one brings a lot of people. So I just become friends with them. I get to really know them, and that's how I bring them. Like at church, we're trying to reach out the neighborhood right next door, and they were trying to do all these big things and trying to attract them, and it's like, I just went and knocked some doors, and that's how you bring people in, the old-fashioned way. You knock on doors and you invite them in, and you talk to them, the good old-fashioned way. That's how it works. There's no other magic formula, Like I'm on TV and on radio, and it's not. I don't think that's as effective, as the one-on-one. Like Jesus, He didn't have like 100, He had 12. He could have had 500, as disciples. He chose 12. That's more powerful.
Do you think that the work that you do brings aid to these persons? I mean, what do they tell you about what life is like for them now? I mean, they don't.
Well, the other project that we work on is the storytelling project on documented stories from stories from immigrants, and it has become a traveling gallery. So I will display it anywhere. It's welcome. I usually want to display it in faith organizations and churches, because I want to get the church involved in this. As Christians, we need to be united in this common problem, and the church is not getting involved. The church is looking away. The church is being legalistic. So I want to bring that to the church, and you're going to be accountable for what you're doing and looking away, because Jesus wouldn't look away on this. These people are oppressed. They need help, and you are in the position of privilege. What are you going to do with your privilege? So that's up to you. I mean, you're going to be accountable to God in the end. So it's not me, trying to point a finger at you. I mean, that's your call as a Christian. That's what you need to do. So when we display these stories everywhere, I mean, they have a powerful effect on people, and people have questions, and people are like, I didn't know that. People don't even know that immigrants, most of the documented immigrants, they don't have a right to obtain a license, a driver's license. You know, which is crazy. You know, they don't have rights for medical insurance. They have no. They pay taxes, right? But they don't see those taxes back. They can't rent a home because, you know, they have to have somebody to help them, and they get taken advantage of them so much because, you know, they need a social security number. They don't have one, of course, because you need that to get a driver's license. So they don't have all these things that we you know, as privileged people we have. They don't have rights, you know. So this is in this country, in the land of opportunities, people have no right. So that doesn't make sense, you know. There's something very wrong, and people are just looking away.
How does that make you feel when people look away?
Well, I'm not burning anymore, you know. It's just like in the Bible, I shake my sandals off, you know. I shrug my shoulders, you know. It's on you. It's not on me, you know. You're looking away, you're going to be accountable. But I'm presenting you with these stories and just laying out there, this is what's happening, you know. People are fearful, people have no rights, they need rights, they need support, and all these people, they come, you know, just to find a better job here, a better life, provide for their families. Most of these people, their kids are immigrants. Their kids are not immigrants. Their kids are U.S. citizens, and, you know, and they're fearful to be taken away from their families, taken away from the country that they were practically. I mean, the kids are born here. I mean, they're going to separate families. Kids are fearful of being separated from their parents. I mean, it's just crazy. Crazy stories. So you see that in those stories, you know, it's a lot of fear, a lot of please, you know, give us rights. Please, we're here in peace. We're hard workers. I mean, the economy is sustained by, in big part, by these people. I mean, they could paralyze the economy, but they have no power. I mean, they have no power.
Have you encountered any opposition to the work that you do? Are there groups and protests?
Christians, unfortunately, Christians.
What do you mean?
It's because Christians are being legalistic, and they have quoted the Bible as, you know, you're breaking God's law because you're not being legalistic, basically. So I'm not being Pharisee is what they mean.
What do you tell them?
That, you know, I think you're being Pharisee because God's law is bigger than that. The Pharisees had Jesus in front of them. They didn't see them. They didn't see him. You know, they just were following blindly the law, and they missed Jesus right in front of them. So the same thing. Same thing's happening now. Because Jesus won't let this happen.
What do you think about the current climate regarding immigration and immigrants and undocumented?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, you're making reference specifically to the deportations and the separation of families.
Well, like I said, you know, that's a terrible thing that is happening because it's a complex problem. You know, it's not as simple as, okay, let's build a wall and throw these people away. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, there's just so many ties, you know, because like I said, the immigrants that have come here, now they have ties that are very rooted here in the U.S. now. The kids are born here. The kids are U.S. citizens. So you're taking the parents of the U.S. citizens. You're taking them away. You know. So see the complexity of it all. So you're leaving these kids without parents. These kids that are citizens, they're fearful of going to school. You know, because they're fearful that when they come back, their parents are going to be gone. And that's so many cases of the stories are like that. You know, the parents are being torn and separated because of that. And that's a terrible thing. And or kids that came here when they were babies, and now you have all the DACA, the Dreamers, and they came here when they were younger, and they didn't ask to come here, and then they're here and they have no rights. oh, DACA gives them this much rights, which is, we're fighting for DACA. DACA has limited, very limited rights, and they have to be continually renovating this permit. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. Laws need to change completely. They need to be restructured. It's a complex problem, but it needs to be addressed. A wall is not going to fix that. That's not the way of solving problems. We see in Europe and everywhere else, how they deal with immigrants. They deal so much different than we do.
Why do you think that is?
Immigration is a problem, but you need to address the problem instead of just lifting up the pretending it doesn't exist, or looking away, or just having people being oppressed or lifting a wall. It's just that you don't want to deal with it, and you're fearful. I think fear is at the root of it all. I think that fear is is very ingrained in this society. They're fearful of change because they want America the way it was, and a nation full of immigrants, and then they're rejecting their own immigrants. So, and you see in Europe, the way they handle immigrants is completely different. They divided the immigrants among the countries, so they know it's a problem, and they're working on it. And that's how you do it. You work, you figure out.
Do you see change coming, or do you see more of the same coming?
I don't know. I see that it has been good. That this current administration has made a lot of the immigrant community very fearful, but also I see that a lot of. I would like to say that I see that a lot of people are working on it towards, we need to do something about it. But hopefully it will be like a more efficient towards changing the law, and instead of, feeding the immigrants, because, we don't want to feed them, we want to change the law so they can feed themselves, and learn and have the opportunity to healthcare and everything. And every right, and get a social security number, get a driver's license. The basic. Don't give him food. Nobody's gonna starve in this country. Give him rights.
Students have made several waves currently in protest of a broken immigration system. And what do you think when you see students marching?
Like, I have my own different way of dealing with this. I mean, I think the story is, I think education is key. I think education is key. I think that we can only obtain so much with protests. I mean, it's just very, are we being really efficient? Are we getting the most out of it? And I think we can, if the Hispanic community needs to better, and that's also why I work with training leaders, is because we need better leadership, better organization. If we have good leadership and organization skills, then we can lift them up and do something about it. But we're lacking that, so I see that that's a huge problem, because protests will get us not much. Really, I think that education will get us further.